Linda and her husband David live a life of comfort and happiness, blessed with two beautiful children, Henry and Amelia. Their home is filled with love and laughter, and Linda's generous, trusting nature endears her to all around her. But this harmonious life takes a dark turn when Linda's childhood friend, Amaka, suddenly reappears, seeking Linda's help after years of hardship. Welcoming Amaka with open arms, Linda offers her a place in their home, unaware that jealousy and resentment have poisoned her old friend's heart. Behind her warm embrace, Amaka harbors a sinister plan. Once upon a time in the bustling city of Lagos, there lived a woman named Linda, known for her kindness, beauty, and wealth. She had it all: a loving husband, David, two adorable children, a beautiful mansion, and a life filled with laughter and love. Linda's life was the picture of happiness, and her generosity earned her respect in her community. People often said that Linda was too trusting, but she always laughed it off, believing that everyone deserved kindness. One sunny afternoon, Linda ran into an old friend she hadn't seen in years. Her name was Amaka, and she had been Linda's closest companion during their youth, though they'd lost touch over time. Seeing Amaka brought Linda a rush of memories, and without hesitation, she invited her friend back into her life. Amaka had fallen on hard times, and Linda's heart ached for her. She immediately offered Amaka a place to stay and helped her find work. As days turned into weeks, Amaka settled into Linda's home, her eyes taking in the elegance and comfort that Linda lived in. Though she was grateful for Linda's help, a dark seed of envy had already taken root in her heart. She couldn't help but compare her life to Linda's, feeling bitterness that her friend had so much while she had so little. Yet, Amaka masked her envy with warmth, convincing Linda that she was overjoyed for her success. Linda, ever the trusting soul, didn't see the shadows lurking in her friend's heart. She was delighted to have Amaka back in her life and trusted her completely. Amaka began to slip seamlessly into Linda's life, accompanying her to social events, helping with the children, and becoming a confidant for both Linda and David. David, too, was drawn to Amaka's lively spirit and charm, not suspecting anything beneath her friendly character. But Amaka's heart was not satisfied with merely watching Linda's happiness. She wanted it all: Linda's home, her family, her husband. One night, as she lay awake in her guest room, a plan began to take shape in her mind. She would make Linda's life her own. All she had to do was be patient and take advantage of Linda's trusting nature as part of her scheme. Amaka began slowly poisoning Linda, mixing small amounts of a tasteless but deadly poison into her food. Linda's health began to decline, and her once vibrant energy faded. David grew concerned, urging her to see a doctor, but Linda brushed it off as fatigue. Amaka was by her side constantly, comforting her and helping around the house. Linda, unaware of the cause of her illness, was grateful for Amaka's kindness and leaned on her friend even more. David, desperate to find a solution, depended more on Amaka to take care of the household and the children. Amaka now had full control over Linda's life, her plans advancing without a hitch. Eventually, Linda grew too weak to get out of bed. She called Amaka to her bedside and thanked her for being a loyal friend. Tears slipping down her cheek. The sight of Linda's weakness should have softened Amaka's heart, but her envy was too deep. She wanted Linda's life, and nothing would stop her now. One stormy evening, Linda passed away in her sleep. Amaka stood by the edge of Linda's bed, her expression somber, but inwardly she is happy, and said to herself, finally. Linda's pale, lifeless body lay still, the once vibrant woman now reduced to silence. David, broken and confused, knelt beside his wife, sobbing uncontrollably. Henry and Amelia, their small frames shaking with tears. As the household plunged into mourning, Amaka's crocodile tears mingled with the genuine grief around her as she took on Linda's role in the home. She cooked, managed the household, and treated the children nicely in front of David. But when he is not around, she treated them bad and harshly. Within days, David reluctantly allowed Amaka to take charge of the family's affairs. He needed her help, or so he thought. One evening, Amaka was sitting in the living room when the door suddenly creaked open. David entered, his face pale, holding a piece of paper. "The autopsy results are in," he said, his voice trembling. Amaka froze. "Autopsy? Why did you order an autopsy?" David's eyes narrowed. "Something didn't sit right with me about Linda's death." He hesitated, then continued. "The results showed traces of poison. Someone was poisoning her." Amaka's throat tightened. She forced herself to look surprised. Poisoning? That's horrible. Who could have done such a thing?" David studied her closely, his suspicion growing. That's what I'm going to find out, he said, walking away. Find out in part 2, will David find out who killed his wife? Is Linda truly dead? Stay tuned. Subscribe for more interesting stories.